Oshinoko chapter 133 is here, and we have a really intense chapter this week, something I wasn't expecting at all. Chapter 132 was a freaking insane one in itself, as we finally got to see the real Nino, and the whole conversation with Ruby was absolutely shocking. Not as shocking as the end of the chapter where she is seen reporting back to Hikaru, mind you. Now, I was absent for the last chapter as I got married, and then I spent my honeymoon in Tokyo, where I saw a lot of awesome stuff, including, of course, Oshinoko goodness, as well as hearing Idol 200 million times, which I'm not complaining about. I also got cake from an Oshinoko vending machine, which was awesome. Guys, what flavor are you going for? As you can see here, I went for eyes, and it tasted amazing. Anyway, I'm back now, so let's dive into this week's chapter. So, chapter 133 starts with panels showing Ruby shooting some scenes as Ai, as she is directed to do take after take after take. You can clearly see that she is trying to give it her all, but she is absolutely exhausted. Ruby is instructed to take a break, and Kana appears, offering our girl a bottle of water and asking if she is okay. Now, we see that Nino's words to Ruby that the real I would never say something like that have definitely affected Ruby as it plagues her mind. She asks Kana in frustration, what kind of person was my real mom? How did she actually feel? Ruby turns to face her and asks, what should I do, senpai? My impression after talking with the real Nino was that she was a person of love and hate. Not only is she obsessed with someone who died many years ago, but she also continues to hate her. That hatred is so deep, you could even call it love. There's no question at all that this interaction has thrown Ruby off. Just doing this movie was going to be extremely taxing on her, not only emotionally but mentally too, but throw in these added roadblocks, if that's what you can call them, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ruby blow up at some point. Back to the chapter, Kana looks on as she thinks to herself that she's able to act out those feelings because she has felt that same envy and hate towards others herself. But for Ruby, it's maybe a little too much. The expectations weighing on her shoulders are just too high. Kana continues that Ai's mental state isn't something that can be easily understood unless Ruby has the same experiences as Ai, and we do see Kana act out on this later in the chapter. Now, later on in the day, I presume, Kana goes to check up on Ruby in her room, who is sitting on the floor crying, going over the script. Kana sits beside her and asks why she is crying. We get this kind of heartbreaking panel of Ruby crying as she responds to Kana saying, because it's frustrating. Kana responds simply saying, I feel you. She tells Ruby to take it easy and to get some rest. Ruby says, don't worry about me. Ruby continues saying, you're focused on being an actress in the future, so if this movie doesn't do well, you'll be in trouble too, right? Kana says, oh my, are you worried about me? And Ruby says, of course, you're my teammate. Kana shrugs the situation off, as Kana does really, in saying that she'll be an actress after she graduates from Bikamachi, so it shouldn't concern her anymore. Not necessarily the words, but probably the way she said it, really hits a nerve with Ruby as she fiercely says, you're my friend, so it's only natural I'd be worried. And honestly, I think they've nailed these panels of Ruby in this chapter. They've really captured the emotions she is currently going through, and they only get better as the chapter progresses. Now, Ruby's reaction actually takes Kana back a bit as she thinks to herself, you really are cute and honest. That's why you can't play the role of I like this. For me, it's at this moment that I think Kana starts to decide what she's about to do next, which, absolutely shocked us in this chapter. Before that though, she asks Ruby why she is desperately doing her best here. Ruby, to be fair, completely opens up on her feelings as she says, isn't it obvious? The role I'm playing is my own mom. The goal of this movie is for our family to come to terms with the past. And I gotta say, I love how Miyako is included in this shot of her family here. That was so wholesome to see, and I just absolutely love that detail. Ruby continues saying, that way we can look forward to the future instead of getting caught up in the past. I have to do this right no matter what. That's why I want to understand Mama. I want to perform well at any cost. Like, this part of the chapter was so damn powerful, man. I had to take it in for a bit when reading it, as we really saw Ruby lay everything out on the table about just how much this movie means, not just for her, but for her family to move on. That final panel in this section was filled with so much emotion, and it really took me back. It's now here that Kana decides to do what shocked us all. She sits there and thinks to herself after hearing Ruby's emotional words that she's sure she doesn't understand even a tenth of what they have been through and the feelings they've put into this movie. Perhaps only the people concerned can understand that. She continues, I feel the same way. I felt this way for a long time. I understand that feeling so well that it feels like it's going to tear me apart. Now, there's only one thing I can do for you. Kana continues thinking to herself, I'll give you one piece of the puzzle to help you understand but that piece is. And it's here that we see Kana stand up and calls to Ruby. She says, I'm sorry, but you're the only one who thinks we're friends. She says to Ruby, I decided to quit being an idol because you're there, you know? Ruby's like, wait, what? This is a bit out of nowhere. Kana then snarls and says, as an idol, Kana Arima can never surpass Ruby Hoshino no matter what she does. Knowing that I had no choice but to go somewhere you're not around, otherwise you'll take everything from me. Now, with a bit of an evil looking face looking down on Ruby, Kana continues, in the end, we're simply extras for Bikamachi, right? We're just here to make Ruby Hoshino look better. She elevates her tone as she says, there's no way I'm not wrapped up in envy and jealousy. We can see here that Ruby looks completely blown away. It's a mixture of shocked, broken, and confused as she is desperately trying to digest and understand what Kana is saying to her right now. Kana looks down at the helpless Ruby and thinks, there you go. That's how your mother felt. The real feelings of envy and jealousy, despair, and loneliness. You want to understand your mother and perform well, don't you? I understand that feeling better than anyone. That's why. Kana continues, I thought I'd take this frustratingly shameful feeling of jealousy to my grave, but I'm not hiding anymore now. I'll just show it to you even though it means I'll lose my precious friend. And like, damn man, like the last panel of this chapter is the final knife Kana digs into Ruby as we see her deliver this last line in a way that, you know, she knows that there'll be no going back after it's said. In order to help her friend overcome her own obstacles, she must sacrifice the thing they had together. Kana's fists are clenched tightly as she says, time and time again, I wish you'd go away. Can't you just disappear already? And I gotta say, that was absolutely intense. And man, did that come out of nowhere as well. I honestly felt a little weird after this chapter, as I, like many others, have been completely shocked by Kana here. Though I totally understand why Kana has done this, and at first I thought she was just lying or acting, but I think there is of course truth behind Kana's words here. I'm not doubting that their friendship is real and the two really care for one another, but we've seen Ruby's rise in fame affect Kana behind the scenes, and I think naturally Kana feeling those things is normal. You know, no matter how strong our bonds are with one another, if so much good fortune falls upon someone and you're desperately struggling to catch just a break for yourself, you do feel that bit of envy there. Kana was obviously going to keep these feelings to herself as you would do, but to help Ruby understand I better and give a better performance, saying these things to her is absolutely the right call, though she does know that it is going to hurt Ruby hearing them. And I know it's really not nice at all, but in order for Ruby to get through this movie and give her absolute best, she is gonna have to suffer in the process. I is this great big mystery, this one-of-a-kind person whose thoughts and feelings are this twisted maze you can't even begin to understand unless you feel the pain and hurt that I herself went through. But how is Ruby going to react to this? You know, she isn't I, she's a completely different person. Will she be able to bridge the gap and understand how I felt, or will her true and kind nature take over and react to Kana in her own Ruby-like way? Either way, this was a huge move from Kana here, and she is sacrificing everything in order to help her best friend. Will Ruby come to realize this? I certainly hope so. And though this comes across as a super harsh move, this is absolutely peak friendship from Kana here, and a really shocking but great twist thrown into the Oshinoko story. Honestly, I can't wait to see how this is going to affect the arc going forward. What did you think of this chapter? Do you think Kana and Ruby's friendship is completely broken now, or will Ruby come to see what Kana was doing? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And while you wait for the next video to drop, why not check out this video where I talk about the real reason that I was written out of Oshinoko so early, despite how amazing a character she is. But guys, that's it from me. I'll see you soon for some more. Till then, you take care. Peace, peace.